Call this City of Yamhill City Council meeting to order Wednesday, August 30th, 2025, 6:34 p.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Here.
What's up?
Husky here.
Karen here. I said come here.
Oh, good. Fantastic. I didn't hear that. What's that?
What about you?
Morgan here. I was waiting for Kim. And we'll just go to a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I say the 30th. I would like to correct the date of this meeting to Wednesday, August 13th. If I said something else, 2025 at 6:30, whatever time. Thank you. All right, so public comment. Yamhill encourages all citizens to comment on any city business. This is not a dialogue platform. This is not a question and answer period. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. If you need special accommodations or additional time, please contact City Hall in advance of the meeting. I do not have the clipboard, but I will grab that. I got it.
Disregard my name.
Disregard her. All right. So Carol Pendergast wants to be disregarded. Robert Davis, would you like to comment, sir?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I went camping for a week, so I'm behind. So I have nothing.
Do we have on the record that Robert Davis would not like to speak?
That is it.
Okay,
You get by this month.
weird. Pam Kirsch, do you have any comments tonight?
I have no.
And Jimmy Morrison.
No.
Okay, that is unusual. Thank you, everyone. Did we have any answers to questions from last month? We did not. Sorry to.
You're putting me on the spot. I don't know that I checked this month. I want to say that there weren't.
I don't think that we had either, and so with your indulgence, I would like to, if there were questions from last month, we will answer those at the next meeting. Unless there's somebody that asked a question that would like that answered immediately. We'll answer it next month.
And we do have one person online,
Oh,
if we want to check, if they want to make a public
that would
comment.
be great.
To the person online, Lillian, if you are wanting to make a comment at the meeting, if you could just press. Oh, if you're on the phone, press *9 or unmute yourself and raise your hand. She is not raising her hand.
He's blinking.
Oh, that's because I was
Oh.
doing this. That was me.
Okay,
Okay, no comments.
so agenda updates or additions? I don't have any.
The only thing that I want to update is there is on the minutes, I omitted, who made the motion on the ordinance, and I have corrected that to include Tim's name. And that would be all in the minute, that would be fine.
Thank you. And then, council, I think all saw the email that was sent from a finance manager in regards to the financial statement. Did you all see that? Okay. Patty, you did?
I did.
With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Does anybody have any questions or comments to the consent agenda?
No.
We have a second?
I second the motion.
We can have a vote if there's no question.
Shorter, we go.
Counselor Askey?
Yeah.
Aye? Or yes,
Oh.
yes, I'll call your
That's,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds perfect. If you can call the names, because we're sitting in a
All
different
right,
order.
Counselor Kind,
Kend, I.
Counselor Perrin,
Aye.
and Mayor Corrigan.
Aye. All All right, that was just flawless. Moving on to department reports. So the first will be the city administrator report, staff report. All right, so look how cool this is gonna be. So we have a PowerPoint again. So if we go to the first slide. That's Derby days. That's the bathrooms were. So as we talked about during budget season, we're a little short. So they had the volunteer employee clean the toilets in the men's room. It was a little gross.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right? And we'll move on to the next slide. So I don't know if anybody knows, but my farm got on fire last week. It was the night of National Night Out on the 5th. And personally and from the city, we want to thank all of the people, the first responders that showed up to keep that fire from expanding beyond what it was. One of the firefighters that had fought quite a bit of fire had said if the weather had been 10 degrees hotter and the wind a couple miles an hour faster, and without that much of a coordinated response, that would be a fire they would still be fighting. So they said like thousands of acres. So they did a fantastic job. And so to all of them, thank you. The agencies involved was Yamhill Rural Fire Department, Gaston Fire, Carlton Fire, Lafayette Fire, McMinnville Fire, Dundee Fire, Wycombe, Dayton Fire, Forest Grove Fire, Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, and Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and likely others whose name are not on this list yet, as that list has been being updated quite often over the last few days.
Police, state police and.
So there was state police, thank you, Bob, actually, I forgot to give that to you, but there was one state police officer and 2 sheriffs that responded as well. So to all of them, thank you, and especially, and every chief that I spoke to would like to put a special thanks to Austin Pine from Yamhill Fire.
Yeah.
He actually was the first one on scene, ran hose, and likely is what kept that fire from exploding beyond what it was. And so that was above and beyond. So from my family and from the city, much appreciated. Next slide, Yamhill Police Department. So Chief Graven had meetings with Sam Elliott and the Undersheriff, Captain Todd Whitlow, regarding the assistance and coverage as we've been short-staffed. Derby Days briefing, traffic control detail, debriefing, and National Night Out booth. Helped in a trespass on Public Works with a moped. Traffic complaint on East First Street. Callouts for suspicious on Elms and Ash Streets. Welfare check on Highway 47 and noise complaint on West 2nd. Processed records requests, training records, equipment records, payroll and PERS reporting, and countless other things that he does. SRO Livingston took part in active shooter management training. Helped with the Derby Days parade and the briefing and the traffic setup. Distracted driver grant work. Warning for juveniles in park after hours. And reckless driving on Main Street. And then this is the police stats. Number of calls, 100. Case reports, 5. Arrests, 2. Municipal court citations, 29. Number of warnings, 56. Circuit court citations at 0. Calls for service, 43. Officer initiated contacts, 57. Greg worked 100, Chief worked 183 hours. Travis Van Cleef, 0. Officer SRO Livingston, 180. And total coverage hours of 363 hours. So Chief drove 1,104 miles. Livingston, 180 miles, and a total of 1,284 miles. So being short-staffed, but as you can see, been maintaining coverage for the city. So thank you for, again, above and beyond for you and SRO Livingston. and to the sheriff's department for their assistance as well. Moving on to Public Works. My computer's slower than Angie's. So wastewater, they perform daily readings on operations and lagoon systems. CIP project, new water disinfection building in construction. Water treatment plant started a project for new water intake screen, giving the city additional screen intake. The average water usage of 315 to 356,000 gallons a day last month, which is down from years gone by. The year that we had the water shortage, we were at 115, or excuse me, 415, I believe, a day. So we're doing well, saving some water. Streets, poured new sidewalks off Highway 240, potholes for new water distribution line north of Olive on the 27th of August. Parks, their preparation for Derby Days, stocked and supplies and normal maintenance. City Hall. So the office manager and city clerk worked on monthly payroll, including a split for fiscal year and PERS reporting, monthly court date, entry processing citations, work and code enforcement, assistance in YPD fleet maintenance, and PERS reporting. Financial manager reconciled all 4 accounts, the LGIP, Yamhill checking, utility billing, and Muni court. Account and filing rollover for the new fiscal year, registered account in asap.gov for the Merkley grant. I'm glad that's here. Spearheaded last minute national night out planning and coordination. It was last minute and they did great until my fire ruined it. The city recorder created agendas, noticed, amended, and ran Zoom for 3 city meetings. Requested, collected support letters for the TGM grant applications, followed up in research on lighting ordinance for planning and council, processed 4 building compliance apps and 1 sign permit, completed and sent onboarding information to new planning commissioner, attended housing authority board of directors meeting, late utility payment notices and follow through, sent legislative amendment to general code for code update. All administrative staff, they took part in the Derby Days planning parade and the National Night Out booth, utility billing and payments and customer service, and planning and preparation and execution for the National Night Out. Upcoming events. August 18th was the Planning Commission. The 20th is the city county dinner in Carlton. So we all have to decide if who's going to that. September 1st is Labor Days and the city offices will be closed. September 2nd is the EDC committee meeting. And the 10th is the city council meeting. And there it is. So next would be the police department, chief. And you put together an amazing PowerPoint. Thank you for that.
And I think that that's great that to have that PowerPoint, it is like that much of what all the staff do, just so.
100% it's that much what the staff does.
So, but it's nice to have those bullet points so that the community is aware and the council is aware. I want to publicly thank all of those that were involved with the Derby Days planning and also with the National Night Out planning and execution. Both were excellent events and all staff worked abundantly and above and beyond what I would expect. So wanted to thank Jason and his crew and the city hall staff and the mayor for all the countless hours that they worked preparing those things and making them excellent events. We do have an event coming up, another seatbelt operation. That'll be the 18th through the 31st. So they'll make sure to do following all of the rules of the road, not just for seatbelt that will be the focus, but for all of the rules of the road. And that's a national event, so it'll be all all over the state of Oregon primarily, if you're traveling outside of the state of Oregon, it could affect you there as well. So you'll see a lot more law enforcement out on the road for that. You know. That is about all I have. I hope everybody's staying hydrated and staying cool and put their rain jacket on for Friday. So. Don't have any questions that I can answer?
All right, well, thank you, chief. Brings us to public works.
Yeah, like you saw stated there, the disinfection building has been hard. It's been challenging, but you know, we got really good subcontractors and contractors working on that project. Just a lot going on. We're hoping to take the old existing disinfection room offline by mid-September, but it's looking like we'll reach that point, but there's a lot more to it that wasn't kind of described in the overall pre-con meeting that we're kind of running into when we're potholing out there as far as the liquid concentrations of what we have out there for those lagoons to create that disinfection to be able to read our DEQ limits. But no, also with the intake screen, it's there again, I'll be honest, be upfront with everybody, they had a pretty big blunder. They cut into the shell of the creek, which it was challenging kind of trying to operate the water plant at the same time. We had a lot of buildup as far as shell from the construction aspect push up against the existing screen. So Kyle's been working a lot of hours in the evenings and nights to clear that screen. So we're getting a constant flow of like 410, that's 410 gallons per minute. The contractor who's on the job let his sub take control out there. We didn't have a CM present and they adjusted the screen over by 6 inches. And so that's been kind of a design flaw that we're trying to navigate right now with AKS and the contractor out there. But all said and done, I think we'll have a pretty good product once it's in there. All permitting's been done and taken care of. We had Fish Science go out there and kind of, you know, navigate the waters, make sure that we wouldn't be disrupting any kind of fish flow, and everything was good, everything checked out. One big emphasis, I don't need to stand on this, but we kind of had like goal setting for public works, and the big major one was safer crosswalks along Highway 47. So we're going to put a lot of attention into a lot of effort trying to get a hold of ODOT. You know, we'll probably reach out for everybody's help on that one because we just keep running into a wall as far as getting proper crosswalks downtown. The line of sight when we have those zero setbacks, I mean, everybody's experienced it. I mean, I'm seeing traffic halfway out there now. So we're going to make a real assertive effort this year to get our ADA in place and our crosswalks in place. So
I was gonna say that you'll be gone when I give my mayor's report, but and we're not gonna talk a ton on it because it's still some little details in the works. But the TSP grant that we were looking at last year looks like that was approved.
Oh.
And that is money for crosswalks and downtown
That's huge.
beautification
That's
and other things. And so we're working on what that looks like along with the TGM grant. So that's why we're not gonna talk in too much detail right now, but just so you know that
that's big.
we're working on that as well, and it looks like we should have some money for that, so.
Great.
Can I ask a question?
That helps.
So, Jason, when you talk to ODOT, where do you have to contact them at? What, Mac, Salem, Portland, where?
I typically go the avenue of McMinnville, and now we've established relationships, Graven and I, with, you know, higher level people there that we can contact that within their engineering and their, you know, I don't know what you would call that individual, but yeah, I mean, we're at a much higher level now. I'd say like mid-level there, regional, you know, yeah, there, Graven pointed out, we have a regional aspect that we reach out to. And I mean, through the concerted efforts of Public Works, working with them to get crosswalks. When I'm saying crosswalks, I'm just talking about the striping and the thermoplastics. I feel like we've got a good relationship with them because they see that we're willing to make that concerted effort on our end, so they're way more responsive now, so. But no, like Shay pointed out, having some backing financially, that's gonna be a big one, so.
And having those relationships in place and staying on it and diligent, that helps us with the grants. Right, to have a plan in place when you're going after a grant, as opposed to just trying to get money.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad-
that's
I'm
very
glad-
helpful.
Yeah, I'm sorry to jump in there, but I'm glad to see the city taking that TSP really seriously, because not having that, like you say, stated in our hands to use is it's a nice tool to have coming.
Helps everybody in town.
See, it's kids coming, so. One last part I want to talk on. Cove Orchard, if not, and I could be wrong on this, but I don't believe they have a fire hydrant out there.
I do not believe they have a fire hydrant. I know that there is a fire hydrant out there, but it is decorative.
And I don't know if this is something you guys can make on a decision tonight, but if you guys would like to gift them a hydrant, and I wouldn't go as far as the install, but allow them to at least take that $8,000 burden off of them where they could actually afford the contracting cost so they could have one out there. I think that's something that'd be pretty major for that small community. Man, it's, when we went through this.
What do we normally do with our because we have multiple retired hydrants currently.
I mean, that's another aspect. I mean, you could gift them, like you stated, a retired hydrant.
Do they know they don't have one?
Well,
Hopefully they do.
I mean, we kind of ran into the weeds when we had that aspect out there, and this Yamhill Fire Protection didn't know they didn't have one out there.
So,
Wow.
well, the other thing is their system is not, it's not as robust by any means as ours. They're running, I believe, in a lot of situations on 4-inch and less lines.
But relationship, I don't want to get too deep in the woods with this, but
Well, I guess what I was asking about is what have we done with fire hydrants in the past when they come out of commission? Are just sold for scrap? Do they sit out?
scrap typically, just because they either sit in our yard or they go to scrap, so it's.
I mean, I think council could probably direct Public Works to dispose of surplus fire hydrants in what would be the best interest of the city.
Yeah.
I would think, although I think I would probably need to state that I have a potential conflict of interest on this. My farm was the one that caught on fire, but you know, the good news for my place is there's not a lot left to burn.
Yeah, just kind of let it resonate. And if we want to circle back to this to next month, I mean, that's fine, but it's something I think that needs to be taken care of, I guess. I'm not gonna say that too lightly. I feel for that community out there without any fire suppression in their system. So
Is there anybody on council who'd like to, we could put that on the agenda for the next meeting? Or we could just have staff, you know, Public Works dispose of them as they see fit, or
That works.
I think it's a good idea.
so
I mean, if they
I think
need-
what I'm hearing from council is that however you would normally get rid of them, it didn't generate money for the city.
Yeah.
And if there's another community that could use those bits, then
Okay,
that seems reasonable.
sounds
Does
good.
that seem, we need anything else, then just direct them that's.
I would have to look into it. I would have to do research and gather information.
I mean, as long as
I
they're
mean, do we need to
functioning.
do a surplus, a resolution for surplus property, I would assume.
Yeah, bulk surplus property, and just make sure there's some type of NGA for liability.
Let's look into that and see if we can take care of that with staff, and if it needs to come back before council, then we can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was just something I wanted to throw
Yeah,
out.
I think that's a great idea, Jason.
Anyways, that's all I had.
You two would like to take off, you're welcome to. Thank you for your reports. Thank you for your help also with the executive session, Chief. You're welcome.
Good report.
And then do we have a representative at all online for planning?
Sean is not able to attend tonight. I did reach out to him. He said he doesn't really have much to report, because they haven't had a meeting since their work session. That's really all the report for them, but we do have Jenny here. from
Yes.
the Economic Development Committee.
And that's what our next on the agenda.
I have stage fright with so many people. So, we have, after having a break in July, the Economic Development Committee met again last week, and prior to that was the group meeting or the work session with planning and city council and everything. So I think from that really got us some really good next steps for where we're headed. And so right now, so with our meeting last week, we worked on compiling the action items and the goals that came up from the work session and prioritizing things around the authentic Yamhill and the beautification. And so we are working on next steps for that. And we left our meeting last week with our homework to review and come up with ideas and do some research in talking to local business owners on what they would like to see for businesses, the look and the feel of the town, just try to get some input from the community. Let's say if there's a new building that comes in, what would they like to see? And just get a feel for that input from them. And then also we are doing our research on, that's to help inform our architectural design recommendations that we will be putting together for the planning commission, and kind of think about what people want to see that would kind of help accentuate and go with the flow of what we already have here and what used to be here in the olden days. And so we also all got our copies of Song of Yamhill. So we have our research, and then we looked at old photos that Angie shared from the garage there. So we're kind of just doing our legwork. Another thing is I've mentioned this in previous meetings, but the Yamhill Downtown Association also had done like a branding exercise last fall. And so we came up with input and ideas and kind of a vision on what authentic Yamhill is and what that means. And so we're kind of pulling all these bits of research together for our next meeting to come up with recommendations for the planning commission. So that's what we are working on. And then side note, does anybody have any questions on that?
No, that's amazing. Thank you.
And then Tim and I were talking about like the Christmas lights too, and things that's something the Yamhill Downtown Association works on. So there's the different elements. And I just would like to acknowledge Angie and all the hard work she's been doing and how awesome she has been with keeping us in line and moving things forward and just all the work you're doing. So you're great. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next is council reports. The first is mayor's report. I talked a little bit about the TSP and the TGM grants. So I did not know this, but there is a person who is from Yamhill who apparently, and forgive me because I don't know a lot about this, but Brett Gailey competed
Yes.
as for a world land speed record and was successful. And his family has reached out to councilperson Featherston and asked that maybe we could have some sort of celebration in the city for that victory. And that perhaps the car could be placed on display and have a sort of a gathering. So I just found a little bit about this today, but I think that is something that would be amazing for the town. And so I think we'll probably reach out to maybe Downtown Association and some others and see what kind of things we can get put together for that. But we got a world land speed record. That's pretty cool.
Like one of those rocket cars?
I think like one of the rocket cars like Bonneville Salt Flats or some such. So that is pretty cool. In addition, we have met with, just so you folks know, AlexaNet is an IT service provider. And we went through presentation with them today. And they've been helping us out quite a bit with our IT services. And other than what we went through, I guess in the city administrator report, that's about all I have. Council reports from anyone? Councilman Kent, Askey?
I do, as usual. So I attended the Carlton Council, City Council meeting last night and talked to them briefly about a joint collaboration between the city of Yamhill, Carlton, and the high school for their newsletter, for the school's journalism class they evidently create a newsletter now and they send it out. But from what I can gather, it only goes to the parents or families or whatever of the kids that attend school. And what I am asking the school to do is include information within the city, whether it be to promote a new business, an existing business, add city council dates in there so that people that have just moved here are aware of that. Because if they don't go online, they don't go to the post office, they're clueless as to anything unless it's coming from their kids. And then I also, explained to Carlton, it could be special events that are gonna happen. And this newsletter would be quarterly according to the superintendent. So, and then he said that if it got a little bit bigger, which they don't want it to get too big because it's too costly, then they could start doing monthly ones. And I am personally excited about it because, and I used the example that they had a plant sale over at the school. Well, as most people know, I live right in front of the school, but had no clue about it. None whatsoever. And they've evidently been doing this for years. So things like that could be included in the newsletter. So I'm hopeful that this is going to go forward. So as soon as school starts again, I will talk again with the superintendent to see if we're going to be able to continue this. And it would go out to everybody, not just the addresses or whoever of the kids that attend to school. So that way we can get them to provide information to the city as a whole.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. Then, and I'm just going to go over these briefly. I was contacted in regards to multiple incidents of kids riding electric scooters, mopeds, and motorcycles with no helmets. They're too young to have a license, and on mopeds, according to the state of Oregon, you have to. Shay and I talked about this, and hopefully we will be able to address it with the chief and get these
It's been addressed.
issues.
We've had people come into City Hall to report it, so it
Really?
was, as it was happening, we were.
Okay, because I just found out about one, talking to my husband, that two girls came down 47 against traffic on a moped.
And
No
those
helmets.
girls actually were cited.
They were?
Yeah.
So it's hopefully the same ones.
I believe it was the same.
Okay,
I could be mistaken on that, but those were cited.
But there was in the reports about a moped.
okay. And then it was brought to my attention that there was a water bill that was extremely, almost 10 times higher than the norm for the resident. And so that is being looked at through Public Works. Shay and I also briefly talked about it, and we talked to Kim, and Kim is not able to see all months for one resident in a row. It's only the prior year. So it's not available as far as unusual usage unless you look to the prior year. So, and then there's also not a red flag, so to speak of, until those gallons get up over 10,000. So we don't know if that can be looked at to drop it so that it's not so high. Anyway, that's gonna be addressed. And then we also talked about creating a fund for low income people. If something to this, you know, like this happens again and they can't afford it, then Shay, do you want to take the rest of that?
Yeah, so, and this will probably go on the agenda for next council is, so the idea is to create a fund or an agreement, an MOU with a local plumber. If there was elderly, low income, disabled, et cetera, whatever that criteria looks like. For people that have at the city's water meter, anything beyond that into the house belongs to the homeowner to take care of. And not everybody can afford to take care of those problems. So leaving it to do nothing, it draws their bill up tremendously and wastes a lot of city water. So the thought is to look at, and then next month, and Patty gonna hold her to it as well, is we're gonna look to and research what some options might be that we can bring in front of council for the next meeting to maybe create a fund or an avenue for people of low means.
Just want to say also YCAP is a great resource.
Yep, absolutely. We'll look into all of that as well. So yeah, that's for the next one. And Angie took notes, so it'll be there. Because I have faith in her. Thank you for that, Carol, too.
So the other thing that I had down here is to see if we could add a short statement. Angie. For when somebody has a public comment, if we could just add a short statement of what they said.
In the minutes.
Yeah, in the minutes. So if Bob came up and stood up there and said, you know, whatever, we could have just a small statement as to whatever it was that he said versus just his name.
That seems like more work for Angie.
Well, but it used to be on there, and then that way you would have reference. Because it's always been on the minutes. And then that way you've got some kind of references to what somebody commented on, if they had a question, whatever the case may be. And
It's on the videos online. So you
Yeah.
switch to action minutes to make the minutes shorter, so you could quickly just run down them and, you know, see what the decisions were.
right,
Per Robert's Rules of Order, the action minutes are the way you're supposed to take them. I actually put a little more in some of the discussions than I should even. And per our municipal code, it says we follow Robert's Rules of Order. So
okay,
I have to,
So, and that's what we talked about today at our meeting, was that we'll address that with Angie and find the best way to do that. One of them actually could be an easy way to find from previous meetings and so forth, would be when we, even the next meeting where we address that question. So it'd be easy to find moving forward. But we'll have to figure out with Angie what the details are on that, because we wouldn't have those answers tonight.
yeah, because the only problem that I have with it is I don't go online to do all this. I look at the minutes, and if I want to say, say Bob had something that he wanted followed up on and we didn't do it, it would be in the minutes, and that could be useful without having to sit and go through the videos.
And we can definitely look into it. But we don't know the answers now.
All right. And the only other issue that I have personally, well, not just myself, but a lot of other people too, is that we have had virtually no police on duty for, well, since June.
That
It's
is
been hit-
absolutely
okay,
not true, and
It's
I
been hit and miss.
do not say things, please, that are not true. You received the police statistic reports.
I understand that.
Okay, and to make an announcement to the city that we have almost no services, when we do,
Okay,
I find it offensive.
well, don't be offended because
am.
it's reality, because I see it every single
But
day.
it's not reality, Patty.
And Jay,
Patty, you're out of order.
no, I'm not.
Patty, you're out of order.
Why? Because I'm speaking,
You are making
Honestly?
false statements in a
no,
council
I am
meeting.
not. I am not. It's not just me.
This meeting is recessed 5 minutes. Right.
Mhm.
We are gonna return from recess for the City of Yamhill Council meeting Wednesday, August 13th, 2025 at 7:19 PM. I would appreciate at this point in time, we're in the middle of a council report. I would like it very much if councilperson Perrin would give up her time for the rest of that report and we can continue this discussion outside of the meeting. Acceptable?
Not really, because I'm talking not just for me, but I am talking for other people that have contacted me in regards to this. And I'm not saying that no one has been on duty. I'm just saying that it's rare. Haven't seen a sheriff for weeks. And I disagree with the fact that we've had somebody on duty. It's not very often you see anybody anymore. The kids over by the park that I got contacted about, nobody saw them. I mean, it's as if we don't have any law enforcement in town anymore.
You keep saying that, and that's why I actually have a problem, and you might want to talk to the 100 calls for activity that were taking place last month. There was 2 arrests last month. They probably saw the police. There was 29 court citations. So I would really like it if we can move this out of the public right now, because I feel that what you're doing is misinforming the public. I've asked that you're
No, I'm not.
I believe you to be out of order, and the nicest thing that I can do right now is to ask you to surrender your time. Because we're gonna close this and we're gonna move on to the next thing. So we will move on now to council goals and status review. So we had a meeting with the Economic Development and the Planning Commission, Downtown Association, to kind of get back on track with where our council goals are for this year. After we've had our retreat in the spring, I found it to be a fruitful meeting. I think the sentiment was sort of agreed by Janie Morrison when she gave her report tonight. Does anybody have anything on council goals as far as that? Did you enjoy the meeting? Think we made some progress forward?
It was good, informative. I feel like good step forward for us.
Oh, great. With that, we can move on to the unfinished business of a lighting ordinance. You have information on that?
So, yeah, I just wanted to update everyone regarding the lighting orders. I know there was questions in council meetings, and there was questions in the planning commission meeting. The reason that was held off on is due to the legislative amendments. So at the work session, we discussed having Walt, our city planner, review that just to make sure there's not any hiccups between that and that ordinance and merging with the legislative amendments. And I have reached out to him regarding that. And once that has been completed, then you might see it back on for the ordinance reading.
That would be great. It'd be nice to have that in the rear view mirror. Thank you, Angie. New business IT service agreement. This is what we discussed today in the executive session. So we offboarded from IS Outsource. We were with a temporary IT service provider, just sort of to fill in the gap. We now have, I believe, found a very good IT services company called Alexinet. It's out of McMinnville. The guy's only 15 minutes away. Seems very knowledgeable. Gave us a presentation today. I believe it's the city charter that says that contracts cannot be entered into without direction from council. He is going through our entire system right now and establishing what that contract looks like as far as what services would be provided at what rate, give us different cost analysis. Chief Graven's been going through that with him. And then, so my thought is that can be probably taken care of between Chief Graven and our finance manager. That would be an option that council would have, is to just direct staff to go through the contract, choose the best one for the city, and have the contract signed. Or we can go through and have that built with your approval to direct staff to put the contract together and then have it come before council for discussion. So I believe it just requires the direction of council.
A motion for direction.
I think the finance manager is fully capable of taking the lead on this with Greg.
I concur.
I would declare a potential conflict of interest as I have a relationship with the finance manager. Councilman,
Oh, I'm fine with it.
okay. So with that, can we get a motion to have staff take care of the IT services agreement?
I make a motion for staff to move forward with the IT services agreement
And the contract?
and the contract.
Thank you.
Askey, second.
And a vote.
Askey, aye.
And I,
Karen, I.
Corrigan, aye. Amazing, thank you. TGM grant update, we applied for the TGM grant about a week ago. Had plenty of letters of support. Thank you for those who wrote them. And we're still working on that with what the combination of the TGM and the TSP, whether that's one or two things. So more to come next month on that. But all looking very good. The work session council goals update, I think we just kind of touched on that. It's all in the do we need to update something?
Well, the council goals were made in March.
Yes,
And so as everybody's being assigned their tasks on those council goals, the counselors that are in charge of them, if they could update any dates or information or new
Oh, yeah.
steps and send that to me, then I'd like to get those all put together and posted online so people can see what we're working toward and we can check those off as we go.
that is fantastic. We should do that.
Sure.
Water contract update and discussion. If I understand correctly, we are at a place with the water contracts where we have received back one single sort of letter of request to leave the contract similar. They would like to be on their own with a couple of minor changes in verbiage, which have not gone through legal. And then another letter stating that several other outside districts would like to make one district or operate as one district. But we have not heard back from the rest of them.
So we reached out to them with questions. We received questions from 3 different districts and there's been no response or anything moved forward since then. So I just need to know how you guys want to move forward with, should responses be formulated to those questions? Should there be another work session? Who do you want to direct to? What's the next council goal?
I think we should have another work session with them so that they understand what the contracts mean and the surplus water and all of that.
Do that.
My concern with that is that might bring more questions when we have right now, we could just answer questions and say, here's the contract, here's the answers to all your questions. And then rather than continue the process and drag it out.
It seems to me that the word surplus seems to be the sticking point primarily. And I would think that we could direct staff, which is legal, to go through that contract and look at what the ramifications of removing and or leaving. If it has been in every contract since the 60s, the word surplus. I would imagine that we should probably run that through BEH before we do something like remove what seems to be a sticking point. So I think that could be a next step, and that could maybe then trigger a future work session or contract negotiation, or just offer our version of the contract.
Or we could, like, so once we get that information, pass that on to
Mhm.
them to see what
Yep.
they think.
And see what their next step would be.
Okay, so
I think
we
that
can
would-
make a motion to direct
Yeah.
staff to submit it to the questions.
So I make a motion to direct staff to look into the water contract.
Reach out to legal.
Reach out to legal and that's to define definition of surplus.
Surplus.
And pass that information on to the water districts and ask for additional questions that come with that definition.
Perfect. Can I get a second?
I second the motion.
Fantastic. Let's vote.
Ask, yeah,
And I.
Karen and I, are we gonna give them a time frame?
We're
What
gonna-
other questions answer or in?
I already did. Oh, and then they all turned them in over a month ago. And there's been no response.
From
I
us.
already reached out to all of them saying we've had the work session a couple months ago. Did anybody have any questions? They came back with the questions and that's where it stopped.
And now,
I
so, and-
forwarded those questions to council.
and we can take lack of response as they don't have questions,
no, we haven't responded to them.
Yeah.
Not everybody has responded,
but
but yes, I would say that enough time has expired now that
I
moving.
gave them
us
a
moving on-
deadline of when
Yeah.
to submit, and I believe that was July 3rd. No, June 31st,
Okay.
30th,
Well, all right,
somewhere
so
around there.
we will take care of that with the lawyers then, and park fee ordinance discussion. Do you have information on that, Angie?
Yes, the budget, that was approved included, park fee addition, to help fund everything, and in order to do a park fee, we need to have an ordinance created.
So my initial thought on that is we actually have a couple months more, I believe, on a park master plan that we're waiting on from AKS.
Mhm.
And before we discussed and approved any sort of fees or increases there, it makes to me good sense to see where we're going with the parks so that that can be adjusted accordingly. So,
It's gonna take time to create the ordinance, and I would have to check with I think the budget was including those funds coming in at the beginning of the fiscal year. So just for information.
for sure.
So you just want to table it, essentially.
What's my opinion?
Makes sense.
but it was
It was part of the budget.
Wait till you have all the information, so you don't have to go back and correct everything multiple times.
Can I get a motion to table the park fee ordinance discussion until next month's meeting so we can do some further research into it?
I make a motion to table the park fee ordinance discussion until we receive all of the park master plan information.
Second,
I second.
How long is it gonna take to get that information?
It will go on to unfinished business, so you will see that every month.
until we get it.
I mean,
The master plan?
could that be next year?
No, it's supposed to be done this,
Oh, okay,
during the end of summer.
okay.
So can we vote on that?
Oh, ask, yeah.
Did we get a second?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Perrin second. And ASCII, aye,
And I.
Karen and I.
Corrigan, aye. That moves us on to information and announcements. We went over the city county dinner, which is Carlton, August 20th. So please let Angie know, the counselors, if you're planning to attend. Again, Labor Day, city offices will be closed. Workers' comp and volunteer hours. I have actually got a report started for that, so I'm pretty excited about that since I've been terrible about it. I hope everybody else is remembering to turn those in because that does help us with grants and so forth moving forward. And can I get a motion?
A motion we adjourn.
Adjourn.